it's lovey-dovey that we can all get here together and talk about community, but the truth is that in the real world, there's a lot of hatred and division, and there's people that I don't like, there's people that don't like me, there's people that you don't like, and there's people that don't like you. And it's something that really needs to be explored and challenged in order to actually build a community. So I'm talking about, my topic is juvenile sex offenders. I want you to think about this topic and in terms of community and how is it relevant, how do they connect? So some statistics about juvenile sex offenders is that they only make up 5% of all offenders. They're basically from 13 to 17 years old. Most of them have chemical dependency issues, and most offenses happen from noon to 6. So scholars believe that there's 4 eras of policing of offenders, and we're presently in this one. And some people would argue that 9/11, social media has created a highly stressed police state. So why do you think youth commit this offense? This is one of the biggest questions out there. Are they perverted? Are they sick? Or they abuse themselves? Why would they do something so heinous is the huge question. So Piaget's theory of moral development, the slide screwed up a little bit, but birth to 12, people have a strict sense of right and wrong. Around 12, according to this theory, humans start questioning morality as relative. Scholars, they think that there's reasons why they do it that's not because they're perverted or because there's something pathological, but more around development. So the actual risk factors that some scholars have looked at is kind of short-term things that would cause somebody to offend in terms of weeks, days, hours. Those are more stable over time, more environmental, meso and macro. So this is a huge question in this field, is what's the chance that a youth will, anybody want to guess like real quick? Just somebody, what's the chance that they're going to commit a sex offense again?
68.
All right, 68. So empirical studies over time have shown that recidivism for youth, sexual recidivism is from 5 to 15, which is way, way lower than for offense for other types of crimes. It's based on assumptions that offending is at a huge level, that juveniles are similar to adults, and that they're going to offend. It's based on a huge moral panic, basically. So I think it's important that we're aware of this principle here. It's one of my favorite quotes during my research, because a lot of people are informed by their own biases and fears instead of using a more algorithmic or scientific approach. So this is basically us, society, the untrained eye. We just freak out over it. This is more like parents, clinicians without data. And then the highest level is actuarial assessments, which is predictive science. I think we need to have a comprehensive approach towards this. So here you have medical and legal assumptions. There's conflict between these two fields because medical holds a lot of power, and they're coming from a deficit model. In the face of uncertainty, they assume the worst, which informs the legal process. So what are the differences or similarities between teenagers and adults who commit sex offenses? Well, there's really not much similarities. Youth are still in a developmental stage. Youth don't offend into adulthood, as shown by studies. They're more responsive to treatment, also shown by studies. They have less victims than adults. They don't meet the criteria for pedophile. So registration laws, what happens is that you end up isolating, ostracizing these individuals, and it basically becomes an exercise in a scarlet lettering of these individuals for life. So here's a more anecdotal account of an individual who they did something when they were 15, and now they're being punished for it now that they're 30 years old. So the key points is that you got to be aware of your own biases. We believe we're living in a highly contained era. A lot of policies and laws are based on fear, not data. Teenagers are different from adults. youth have way lower recidivism rates, and I believe we should deconstruct the labels around juvenile sex offenders to something that's more strengths-based or positive or hopeful. Thank you.